of the famous rabbis of yesteryear. Now, today I'm concentrating on a famous rabbi, Rabbi Eliyahu Shaarim Z'tl, one of the great rabbis of his time. I believe he was born, to be precise, on February the 18th in the year 1932, and he passed away on October the 21st in the year 2001. He was about 69 years of age at the time he passed away. He was a great rabbi. He would go on to become the rabbi in Tel Aviv with the Merkaz Mischari, a Rosh Yeshiva. He'll become the head of the Mosdot, Torah, והוראה, a yeshiva of them, which we'll speak about, based in Tel Aviv, and would have responsibilities and workings in Meiron, respectively the place of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is buried, and the rabbi of the Shchunat Yedidia, the neighborhood Yedidia in Tel Aviv. In fact, after he passed away, I believe a street will be actually named after him. Let's explore a few of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. Now, he was born in Jerusalem and came from great rabbinic auspices. His father's name was Rabbi Ezra Shaarim. Respectively, Rabbi Ezra Shaarim would become the manager of the Yeshivat Porat Yosef, let's say the bastion of the Sephardic Yeshivot, in its early days. His mother's name was Rabbanit Adina Shaarim, and they both, I believe, came from the Shaarim family. Was a family of rabbis over there, prominent family over there, in Aleppo, in Halab, respectively, in Syria. I believe, as we said before, his father was a manager of the Yeshivat Porat Yosef, and his mother, I believe, was a daughter of Rabbi Yitzchak Shaarim, who was a very famous rabbi, a rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before. We'll just explore just a few short tidbits with regards to Rabbi Yitzchak Shaarim, because we're speaking about him. I believe he was born in the year 1798 and passed away in the year 1872. He was the author of the Torah work called Hadar Azar, and was great rabbis of Aram Tzova in his time, and the Posek Halacha. Okay, so going back to Rabbi Eliyahu. So while he was young, he would learn in a famous Torah institution, Talmud Torah, called Bnei Tzion, a place spoken about on various occasions before. And in fact, many of the great Sephardi Rabbonim would actually learn inside this Talmud Torah, respectively, including the likes of Rabbi Ben Sion Abashol, Rabbi Naim Ben Eliyahu, another great rabbi, Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, who would go on to become the chief rabbi of Israel, Rabbi Yehuda Moalem, Rabbi David Tzadka, Rabbi Yehuda Tzadka, Rabbi Yosef Sharga, respectively. And there was really, really many great rabbis that would actually go on to learn there. So that was a place where he was at that point in time, and which was absolutely astounding. And then at the age of 12 years old, he would go on to move to Yeshivat Porat Yosef, the yeshiva which his father was manager of. And there were many great rabbis also learning there, many of the great Chachamim that would have learned in the Bnei Tzion Talmud Torah before, including Chacham Ovadia Yosef. Rabbi Ben Sion Abashol will be part of the Chabura. Rabbi Shalom Cohen, who passed away a few years ago, who was a recent head of the Shas political party. It was president. Rabbi Mordechai Eliyahu, another chief rabbi of Israel, I believe, between the years 1983 to 1993. Now, when he was only 21 years of age, he would be ordained as a shochet and a rabbi rendering different Torah laws. I think maybe the 8th of Nisan in the year Tafshin Tet Zayin, he would get married to Rivka, Rabbanit Rivka. Now, she happened to be the daughter of the famous Rabbi Raphael Abu, a great rabbi we've spoken about before. He was a Dayan in Israel. He was appointed the head of Jewish court in Haifa and in Tel Aviv, and was the head Dayan in the great rabbinic Beit Din structure in Israel, respectively. Very, very prominent positions in himself. Now, later on, he would actually be appointed as a ram in the Yeshivat Porat Yosef in Kataman. Remember, they had a branch in Kataman. We've mentioned about this on various occasions before. And then come on the, I think it was around Tafshin Chav, if I'm not mistaken, he would be appointed to become the rabbi of the neighborhood, the Merkaz Mischari in Tel Aviv. And he would go on to live over there. This was a very prominent position at that point in time, a very responsible position, and really, really brought about great responsibility, great experience also at the same time, and great amounts of kiruv work, really mitzchazek the area. I think he would serve as I'll use a Hebrew terminology with regards to that, Sefra the Dinah, I think in the city of Petach Tikva, respectively. This was, and in the rabbinical court of Rabbi Reuben Katz and Rabbi Shimshon Karelitz. He would be part of that bet in that structure in itself. Now, I believe, sadly, I think he suffered from illness towards the end of his life, he contracted, I believe, a kidney disease, if I'm not mistaken, and sadly he passed away as a result. And at his funeral, there were many rabbis that would pay tribute to him. Many people would turn up, I think, including famous Rabbi Shlomo Moshe Amar, who was a chief rabbi of Jerusalem at one stage in time. I think the head mayor of Tel Aviv would speak about him, and famous Rabbi Bakshi Doron, another great rabbi, chief rabbi of Israel, and Rabbi Mordechai Eliyahu. So remember, this was about 23 and a half years ago from the time of recording. I think he was buried in the Beit HaAlmin Yarkon, I think, which is in Gush Dan, respectively. That's where he was buried. Now, he did a great amount of work, public activity, in of itself. I believe in the year 19 Tahei Tavshin Chaf Aleph, he would open up the sniff of Parat Yosef in Tel Aviv, together with Rav Shlomo ben Shimon, another great rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before. Now, I think also more great activity he would do. He would, I think, found another Torah and teaching institutions, which I mentioned at the beginning, the Torah, Vahoraa. I think it was actually funded by Rabbi from Suleiman David Sassoon, who was a great philanthropist from the Sassoon dynasty in of itself. I think that this specific yeshiva would be taught by many rabbis from the famous Parat Yosef Yeshiva, I believe, including Rabbi Shimon Badani, who was then a resident in Jerusalem, and Chacham Ovadia Yosef, who would go on to serve as chief rabbi in Tel Aviv. Then he would found also various other Talmudei Torahs. I think in Hei Tavshin Mem Zayin, he would found the Torah Vegan. I think this was given Haskama and good wishes from Rabbi Eliezer Menachem Shach, was the head Lithuanian rabbi at the time, and Rabbi Eliyahu Harari Raful, another great Rosh Yeshiva of Nevei Aretz, if I'm not mistaken. And then Kamot Hei Tavshin Nun Zayin, he would form a yeshiva for younger students over there, and there was many great rabbis over there. I think, including, if I'm not mistaken, his son Rabbi Eliyahu Shaarim would also be part very much of. And I think he's actually still currently the head of that now. He would establish a yeshiva in the city of Givatayim. This is quite close towards Tel Aviv and Ramat Gan. And I think together with his brother, he would start up the yeshiva branch of Parat Yosef in the Geula neighborhood in Jerusalem, a place that we've spoken about. I've visited on this channel on various occasions before. Now, this Mosdot Torah, Vahoraa, I really hope in the next coming days I'll be able to speak about that place inside a separate video over there. Now, various all other things we can mention with regards to the institutional buildings. I think the Tel Aviv deputy mayor will assist him in opening some of the buildings to allocate various different land. I think especially in the Yad Eliyahu neighborhood in Tel Aviv, he would erect 3 buildings and respectively. I think the buildings actually over there were named after three binyanim, Nisim Dina Gaon, and also Nisim Gaon, if I'm not mistaken, who was, I think, a person that really donated a lot, if I'm not mistaken, and an outstanding person that would donate various different monies. There was a Bet Yosef, I think was donated through Yosef Adas, if I'm not mistaken, and very much. Now, he wrote great Torah books, including the Musar Chachamim, which was divided into 8 volumes, the Da'at Eliyahu, which was Shuvot answers in the halacha and various different chidushim, novelties in the Torah. That was, I think, printed from his son, Dvir Shrim, if I'm not mistaken, in the Hebrew Yehei Tavshin Samach Dalet, and various other great books connected to Rabbi Yitzhak Shrim, I think, would be printed. Now, it's actually interesting. He would have 5 sons and 2 daughters. Among his sons include Rabbi Matityahu Shrim, who is the Rosh Yeshiva, I think, in his father's place, of various different Torah institutions. His son Rav Dvir Mokohen Kamagid Shiur, he's a Magid Shiur in Yeshivat Torah Vahoraa, place hopefully we're going to speak about, the one that he founded. His son-in-law Rav Michael Abu has prominent position also as a Rosh Kollel, if I'm not mistaken. Now, his brother Rav Avram Shrim, I think, was one of the managers of Yeshivat Parat Yosef, and Rav Moshe Shrim, being the Rosh Yeshiva of Mesilat HaTorah in Jerusalem. Now, among his students, very great students, Rav Avram Yosef, who is, I think, rabbi of the city of Cholon. Rabbi Yaakov Zamir, a Dayan in the Bet Din HaRabbanei Agdol. He's a great rabbi, I think. He was appointed in 2016 in that position, one of the great rabbis of Jerusalem currently. And he was a head Bet Din in various other places, I think in Netanya specifically. Rabbi Yosef Hadna, I think respectfully, who is, I think, a head rabbi in the Ethiopian community in Israel. Another Rabbi Zamir Cohen, another great Haredi Sephardi rabbi, author of many different Torah books, respectively. And he is, I think, the head of Hidabrut also. He's done huge amounts of kiruv and outreach work in Israel. Many people will see his weekly newsletters, and I think he's one of the heads of, or the head of founder of Hidabrut. Rabbi Yosef Shashua, a posek halacha and author of various different great Torah works. So it's a special edition. We're speaking about Rabbi Eliyahu Shaarim. We haven't mentioned about him before. He's a great rabbi. He passed away 23 and a half years ago here from the time of recording. He was actually born on the 11th of Adar Aleph, I think, back in 1932, and was very much learned in the famous Talmud Torah, B'nai Tzion, and Yeshivat Porat Yosef, author of great different Torah works. So please, friends, we're a community here. We're learning about the great rabbis of yesteryear. If you happen to descend from any of the great Chachamim we are speaking about, please send me an email. I would love to hear more. If you feel anyone's interested in watching these videos, please share these videos to other people also. And please subscribe. We're nearly on 7,000 subscribers now, which is a phenomenal achievement. So wishing all a Shabbat Shalom. Recording this just before Shabbat Parshat Naso, longest Parsha, here from the city of Bet Shemesh in Israel. Wishing blessings. And watch over the previous videos. We've covered about nearly 1,000 mini biographies of great Chachamim of yesteryear. So wishing all a great day. Take care.